Hello, good morning. Another day here in Tenerife. Um, Today, I want to think about the Bible and God. This actually is something that I've never had to deal with as an argument, as as an objection for going vegan, but I know that it's quite a common objection that people use to going vegan because uh, people will say, in my religion, God allows you to eat meat. And I know it's true of the Bible, and I think it's true of the Quran as well. So I thought I would look into this and think and think about how this does this make sense, and is it really a justifiable excuse for not going plant based, for not deciding to ditch the meat and dairy. So first of all, I have to say that I'm from the north of Sheffield. Sorry, I'm from the north of England, a city called Sheffield. It's not the most devout city in the world, and so I'm personally not very religious, and I also don't know a great deal about religion. So I had to research this topic a little bit to find out more about it. And the first thing I found out was that in no religion, in no doctrine, in no religious doctrine, does it say that we that people should eat meat. But all religions say if we need to eat meat, we can eat meat. It's almost like an option. But actually, there are also quite a lot of passages in the Bible that seem to suggest that actually we should be vegetarian. And I'd like to read this one that I found from Genesis 1:27-31. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And so it was. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. If you think about religious doctrines saying that it's permitted to eat meat if necessary, then it absolutely makes sense, because if you think back to the time of when the Bible was being written thousands of years ago, and these passages were being written down, the world was a completely different place. It's easy to imagine that there were years when there were then where famine was rampant, where natural disasters such as fire or floods, and probably at that time, during that time, it was probably absolutely necessary for people to eat meat simply to survive. So if you think back to the time where the Bible was written, where these doctrines came from, it makes sense that the Bible would allow it. However, there is always an emphasis in religious doctrines for if it's needed. And I think we could all say that the world 2,000 years ago is very, very different from the world now, where we can walk into a supermarket and the shelves are absolutely packed full of delicious, nutritious, plant-based foods. There is no need to eat meat anymore. So if you think about a God looking down at today's world and seeing the supermarkets full to brimming with plant-based alternatives, and also looking down at the way we treat the animals, packing them on top of each other in these factory farmed establishments, and basically subjecting them to torture their whole life before killing them for nothing more than a bacon sandwich. It's hard to imagine a benevolent God looking down upon all that and thinking, yes, that is exactly what I intended. I think that's very unlikely. things are actually so bad that scientists say that we're now living through the sixth extinction event. We're actually killing so many species, millions and millions of species, driven by, always the same, always driven by our hunger, insatiable desire for more flesh and more animal products. If God was to look down, if you consider the slaughterhouse and the way that we treat the animals, but also the way that we treat the environment, chopping down the Amazon rainforest to clear land, to grow more soya, to feed more animals, to cause more suffering. Does that sound like the work of a God, or does that sound more like the work of the devil? To me, it sounds a lot more like the work of the devil. So so in today's world, it's clear that we don't need to eat meat to survive. The American Dietetic Association and the British Dietetic Association have both come out and said that a balanced vegan diet is suitable for all stages of life, to live a healthy life. So absolutely not necessary in today's world. And for somebody to say that it's okay for me to eat meat and effectively subjugate animals to torture and death because the Bible says so, is for me a cop-out. It's a way of not taking responsibility for your own actions. Using the Bible as a way to say, okay, well, the Bible says it's okay, so I don't need to think about it. God says it's okay. I can just carry on, and I don't have to think about my own actions. Well, it's I think that well, certainly when I think about how about religion, it's about love, it's about having respect and so on. Surely that love and compassion should extend beyond love and compassion for humans, but also to love and compassion for God's creatures, the creatures that God created. If God created the earth and all the creatures in it, surely his intention was not for us to eat them for breakfast, lunch and evening meal, to have them on top of pizzas, and to house these animals for their entire lives in dark, cramped conditions before being slaughtered. This is absolutely, for me, not something that God would have intended, and I hope this makes sense. Like I say, I'm not a religious person, but I just can't imagine a God wanting that. And for me, I think we all have to be honest about who we truly are. We all of us, and this is something that I'm noticing more and more and more, that every day I do one of these videos, and every day I seem to becoming more and more sure about the idea of compassion. I think that inside of us all, we are compassionate. I think there's a reason why people don't want to watch the videos of how animals are treated. I think there's a reason why we close our eyes to what's going on. And I think the reason is that we know, all of us, in our essence, we are compassionate people. And I think all of us would agree that we don't want animals to suffer. I think that's absolute, whether you eat meat or not, that's absolutely something that we can all agree on. I think in our heart of hearts, we also know that really the animals are dying needlessly, just to fuel our wants. We just want to have the nice taste of a bacon sandwich. And this is our ego saying, give me the bacon. It's habit, taste, convenience, tradition. All these things are driving this desire. But if we look inside ourselves, and we're talking about God today, if we look inside ourselves, surely we're compassionate. And I think this is what we have to become more in touch with. And I think as a religious person who you know, if you're really truly religious, then then it's about love and compassion. And I think this is the key to really thinking about, yeah, finding our compassion again, and extending that to the animals. And of course, by being compassionate to the animals, you're automatically being compassionate to yourself for your health, and you're automatically being compassionate for the planet. You're helping to stop environmental disaster and all sorts of things, including a very topical issue at the moment, viruses that are born out of our desire to eat meat. Again, something that is more in line with the devil rather than God. So I hope this has made sense today. I have the feeling that it was a little bit difficult for me to talk about religion, but I hope it makes some sense. And if you are religious, I hope it's given you some food for thought. Thank you, and see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.